Welcome to the Sendcast. My name is Dale Pickles. I'm the host of the Sendcast and I'm also the managing director of B Squared. If you are a new listener, then welcome to the Sendcast. This is a special episode where we are raising the profile of one of the events in the UK focusing on special education needs and disability. We are once again media partners for the Tes SEND Show that is taking place in London in October. And in this bonus episode, we are discussing why you should attend this event. The Sendcast is created and produced by us here at B Squared. We have a range of products to help schools. We have our assessment software, our evidence for learning and communication system, this podcast, our CPD sessions and more. Visit the B Squared website or click on the meeting link in the show notes to book a meeting with me to take you through our assessment software. Or come and have a chat with us at the Tes SEND Show. Let's get on with this special episode. In this special episode, we are discussing the Tes SEND Show, what it is, when it is, and why you should go. And I have two guests in this episode, Beverley Walters and Jane Friswell. Beverley is the Programme Director for the Tes SEND Show and has been involved in the show for most of its history in some form. Beverley has a long history of working within the SEND community, including working for NASON for over 15 years, working on a variety of projects supporting SEND across the whole country. Jane Friswell is an educational consultant who is hugely experienced in a range of areas all around SEND. She has worked all over the world supporting SEND and is a former CEO of NASON. Jane is one of those people you can fire any question at and she will have an answer for you with lots of supporting information. Welcome to the show, Beverley and Jane.
Thank you. Hi.
Thank you. Good morning.
So, the Tes SEND Show has been a big fixture in the SEND calendar for over 30 years. For those who do not know the show, it is a show that happens every October in the Business Design Centre in Islington, London. It's an exhibition which also have lots of seminars and there's also a leadership conference running alongside. And this year it's on Friday the 9th and Saturday the 10th of October. So, Beverley, why should people come to the show?
People should come to the show because it's a fantastic opportunity to get all your CPD in one place around SEND. There are over 42 seminars, 29 free to attend exhibitor sessions, 6 parent carer teacher forum sessions, a leadership conference, and so much more.
Jane, we were discussing beforehand. How many have you been to?
I believe I've been to 32 out of the 34 shows. And I can remember, you see, I am truly that old. You see, I've been around for that long now. And I can remember my very first experience of the Tes SEND Show and feeling quite overwhelmed by this exhibition, the provision of information, resources, and also the people that I met. I still remember some of those initial conversations that I had with people who were just like me, working in SEND as a teacher, but were working in other areas of the country. And I thought, you know, my little world, when I was a much younger teacher, was all really that existed because we were quite an inward sort of looking community at the time. And I think what the show did for me at a pretty young age and at a very early point in my career was really open up the world of SEND to make me realise just how amazingly diverse it is. You know, just to really get a recognition and acknowledge this huge pool of talent that exists in our world of SEND. So, you know, for me, I then got the bug of going to the show every year.
I think I've been attending for about 20 years. I think as a company, I think we've been going since like 97, 98. And the last couple of years we haven't exhibited, but I've been there. I haven't missed a year because of that community. I think last year, I think I was there for 2 hours and I only made it up one aisle. There was so many people to talk to, so many people hugging you. And it was absolutely phenomenal. And it's one of the things that people go, like other companies, which show should I go to if I want to? It's like TS show. It is the show for Send. It is the big one. It is such a networking event. You're going to bump into everyone there. It's phenomenal.
That's what I was going to say. The networking opportunities alone are worth coming for. And the community, I mean, you say walking down the aisles, the amount of people that stop you and say hello or wave at you and you go, hi, and you think, I know that person, but I'm not sure where from, but I know them. But everybody's so friendly. And that's one of the things that's kept me working for the show, even though I've worked for different organisations. So after leaving Nason, I did some freelance work and then ended up working for the show again. So I've been working at the show and on the show for over 26 years now. So yeah, it seems like we've all got a long history with the show.
It's a constant in the calendar every year. Because if you're a tech company, Bet's the big thing. But I think if you work in special needs, the show is always going to be the TES show. But it is interesting how it's changed over the years. It feels the same every year. It's grown a bit, it shrinks a bit. This moves, that moves. It's kind of responding to what's going on. And that's one of the things which has kept it going for so long, is you haven't just said, this is us, like it or not. You kind of always kind of getting that feedback of what's going on in the industry, responding to those changes, making sure the exhibitors and also all the seminars reflect what's going on.
And that's down to people like Jane, who's
and
part of our advisory board, giving us advice about what we should be looking at, where we should be focusing our attention for the content. But also over the years, noticing how the exhibitors have changed as well, how the resources that are supporting schools have changed, the resource providers in response to changes in policy and changes in the way we look at and the way we engage with the SEND community.
And I think one of the things that I notice about the exhibitors and the quality of the exhibitors and what they have to offer and bring to the show is that over the years, the recognition of what the sector has to provide those exhibitors. So there's been a real change in the nature of the relationships. This isn't simply about a show that wants to sell you something. This is actually about, the quality of the conversations that you're having with those exhibitors. And because they are truly interested and need to know what it's like, working in a classroom where you have a diverse range of children that you are really dedicated to meeting the needs of. And only those that are working in those situations can provide that really valuable feedback to exhibitors. So I think that for me, there's a real sense of that sort of ongoing dialogue that's evolved over the years of the show, but also a real sense that actually we're all in this together, that there's a real camaraderie, a real collaborative sort of culture.
I think we've talked about the exhibitors quite a bit. And for me, that's the bit I think as you walk in, that's what you're going to see. The exhibitors, You'll walk in, you'll see a huge room full of lots of exhibitors covering huge things. But for a lot of people, they come for the seminars as well. And you always see the flow on the show floor when certain seminars start, especially the keynotes in the morning. Maybe the show will empty out, but then it will get busy, the breaks and so on. So the seminars for lots of people is a really big part as well. And your role, Beverley, is to create that agenda, to create all those seminars and meeting the current need. And how many seminars roughly are there happening at the show?
There are 42 over the 2 days. And this year it's been a real challenge because of the number of consultations that have been taking place, all of the review, the policies, the school's white paper. It's been a huge challenge to try and pin down the focus of the seminars, who we should have in there. So we've got the brilliant Jane Friswell, looking at how we communicate and engage with parents and carers. But we've also got so many more seminars. I've included something on change management within education, because we know there will be changes. How will we support staff in those processes? How will we make sure that they're on side and bring them along with us? We are looking at school improvements. We're looking at AI, technology. Essentially, whilst we're waiting for the policy to change, we know that there are children now in schools that need our help, and we can't take our finger off the pulse. We just need to keep going. So that's what I've used to motivate me into identifying speakers and seminars. But it has been a real challenge, because it's where do we go next? And that's where I will, point to Jane.
Yeah, I mean, in the early years of the show, we didn't have seminars. The show was an exhibit. So the addition and introduction of the seminar program, I think, is such a USP for the Tes SEND Show in and of itself. And I think certainly under Bev's leadership, what the show has been able to do is to think about the temperature of what's going on in the education, health and care space through that SEND lens, and reflect that through the programme of seminars that are then provided. It also reveals that massive talent pool, of the people that contribute to the seminar programme, not just those, presenting, for example, like me, but also all of the people that sit behind that have actually informed what you're presenting about. I mean, I'm specifically talking about the experiences of parents of autistic children, and their lived experience of a culture of blame, and looking at the differing perspectives of that. That's a piece of work that I've been involved in, a research project that I've been involved in with West Midlands ADAS for the last 4 years, that's culminated in some, not just cracking reports and reviews, but actually some really important resources that need to be shared with the sector. So the show seminar programme provides that platform to be able to do that, and to do that well, to share good quality resource, support, information and advice out to that much broader audience, whilst also having that really dynamic sort of conversation with people all the time. Because one of the things I love, as you both will be well aware of and know me for, is that I love a bit of a challenging discussion. You don't expect people to just sit there and take what you're presenting. You want to have that that participation, with your audience, with your seminar audience, because often they will know from the information that you're presenting precisely what it feels like to be implementing what you're talking about. They'll be doing this stuff anyway, so they'll be able to talk to you about the pitfalls and the advantages of working in the ways in which we might be describing and presenting about. And that often leads to opening up a much broader discussion across the seminar audience. So for me, that's a real gift. That's a fantastic opportunity to listen, to learn, but also to engage.
And I think, Beverley, you've sent me the kind of list of all the sessions I've gone through, and it's always a hard time when you have like the SEND white paper or the white paper and the SEND reform plans. At the moment, their intentions, this is what we want to do, and the consultations ended when we're recording. Not quite sure when the results of that will come back. But I know the big changes can't happen till the funding arrives. So you're always in this, okay, when the funding arrives, there'll be big changes. But there's always stuff you can do sooner. There's stuff you can prepare. And I think I saw that session on change management, and that's really important, because I've seen local authorities do that. But actually is, before you even bring in the change, actually, how are we going to manage this? How do you successfully make this change? How do you get everyone on board? It's not just three people like this having a chat and go, let's do this. We all go, yes, and off we go. You've got to take the whole school community with you, and that community includes parents.
Yeah.
And those parents might be aware of the changes, they might not. So actually, even that session alone helps you kind of see that you're not just going, oh, what's the big headline? Let's do a session on that. It's really sort of wider in actually what a school is going to be needing to do. What's this going to look like? What skills they need? What is actually need to think about when these changes come.
That was a session that I particularly commissioned with Vafa Taliban, who's absolutely brilliant. And I went to her and said, look, I know you do change management in business. How does that relate to the education sector? And Vafa works in the education sector anyway. So she was just really excited about doing a session that relates to education specifically, that helps schools and settings to structure their plans and to involve the staff in taking their ideas forward, taking their policies forward and implementing them in a way that suits that setting.
Excellent. So one thing we haven't touched on yet, so we've talked about the exhibition, which is amazing, the seminars also, but you've also got that leadership event, haven't you, running alongside?
Yeah. We implemented the Leadership Summit 5 years ago now. And that's, again, through us listening to our audience. We were getting lots of visitors to the show saying, this is brilliant. We know what we're doing, and this is great at refreshing our skills, training new staff. But our leaders just don't understand the issues. So we started the Leadership Summit to try and make sure that the leaders, school leaders, were on board, understood the issues, as they are not necessarily going to be the SEND experts within the setting. And it's been a success and has grown year on year. And we run that in partnership with the Association of School and College Leaders, ASCL. And the Leadership Summit is chaired by the wonderful Margaret Mulholland, who's worked alongside me in all the planning arrangements. She writes the programme for that part of the event. And it's a great partnership that we have with them.
And it is a great event. And one of the things, so we're back this year, and we're back exhibiting, and we're exhibiting as B Squared. So you can see what's all changing, showing progress from starting point and all of that. But we're also going to be there as the Sendcast, promoting what we do there. You can come and sit on our sofa and have a chat. But we're also going to be recording podcasts at the show. So up on the gallery, I think it's at the back, can't quite remember. We're going to be up there recording podcasts, and we'll have various guests on who are speaking at the show. So Jane's hopefully going to be one of them, talking about the event, their topic and things like that. But in the afternoon, we're going to be opening the podcast up so anyone can come along and record a quick chat about their views on how those SEND reforms are going, looking at the positives, looking at those things we need to be careful of, but actually to having that conversation, not just a short Facebook or social media message where you just get the headlines out, hopefully a bit more than that, a bit more meatier, so we can actually have real conversations, and we'll collate those and release those as special episodes after the event.
That sounds brilliant.
Great. Yep. Sounds great.
Anything else to add? We're going to wrap it up. What do you think?
I think just because we are where we are, with the SEND reform programme now feeling very real, and local areas having to submit their SEND reform plans by June the 19th. So there's an enormous amount of activity that is happening at strategic level locally. And the translation of that and the interpretation of what the strategy looks like at local level has to be and is reliant on being informed by those operating at practice level. So, for me, it's about making sure that connection remains strong at local level. Because without it, it's just merely words on a page. Because the common goal here is all of the work that we do in this space that we call SEND and AP is that we all have the same objective in improving lives for children and young people and their families with SEND. and if we don't sign up to that common goal and don't have a proper strategy and plan to deliver that in real life and in real terms, then, all of our efforts are going to be in vain. And we know that we are operating in a system that simply cannot take any more. So things have to change and will change. And I believe by and large, certainly within the localities that I work with, the embracing of those changes has been relatively optimistic and positive. Absolutely, there is still some key areas of concern, particularly for parents and carers, around potential loss of, perceived entitlements and rights, etc., with regards to current legislation and what new legislative arrangements may look like. But you see, all of that has got to be talked about. We've got to bring all of that out into the open. And I think, I will end my contribution here by saying it isn't all going to be plain sailing, nor should it be. The dialogue has to be born out of that common objective, those common goals that I talked about earlier, but also about ironing out the wrinkles along the way, which often come in the form of disagreements, and as not all having the same view. And for me, that's okay. That's part of the process. I think the important thing is protecting and investing in the quality of the relationships that we know we must have secured and must be sustainable over time to make that positive difference.
Definitely. I think if you're feeling like you're working alone or you're not quite sure, or you got questions, the TS show is a great way to go and A, find people who you're on the same page with. B, you get to ask those questions, you get to voice your concerns, and maybe someone else has the same concern as you, but actually they're also doing X, Y, and Z about it. So it's rather than just seeing a webinar or watching that. The sessions aren't obviously interactive, but that ability to go up and talk to Jane at the end of the sessions and ask those questions.
Oh, I love that, Dale. I love that.
It's so valuable.
Yeah,
that's a bit. Yeah. Sometimes you've watched something going, still got questions.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to get those questions answered.
And people like me, and there are many people like me that attend the show, contribute to the show, whatever. We welcome the opportunity of people just saying hello, stopping us, having a chat, or sitting down and sharing a cup of tea together. There's so many opportunities for you to do that, and that's pretty unique.
Yeah, Jane loves a good strong brew. So anyone that wants to come up and have a cup of tea with Jane,
tea, absolutely.
I mean, for me, this show is a great opportunity to start those conversations that Jane was talking about, to begin to explore your thoughts on how you engage with the community and how you implement the policies and guidance that come out of it. And one of the things I've always tried to encourage speakers and exhibitors to do is to collaborate, to work together. So, Jane, after your session, you might be found on the B Squared stand, go and work with one of the exhibitors.
Yeah.
So it's about building that community and building that that feeling of we're all in this together and supporting each other. That's the heart of the show. Yeah. And that's what the vast majority of our visitors experience and the reasons why they come.
Yeah. Yeah. And the quality of the welcome. Everybody feels welcome at the show. It doesn't matter who you are, what status you think you might have, what value you think you might be regarded as having. Everybody is treated as equals at the show, and I think that's borne out and witnessed by the investment that the show makes in the parent carer voice. So as a parent of a young person with additional needs, that is incredibly valuable. To have that seen and to be given the amount of time and space on the programme. So you've got this mixed economy, really, of views and contributions, which I think sets the show apart from any other show of its nature, where they are welcoming in the difference, that folks in our community bring. And I think through the show we celebrate that incredibly well.
Dale, I thought
We
one of the
do.
questions you were
Great
going to
show.
ask me was about, you've asked me in the past, which is my favourite session? And I've always said it's like asking which is my favourite child. And thankfully I only have one child, so there's no choice there. But just in that summary that the two of you have just made, I've been speakers and sessions are popping into my head and thinking, oh yes, then there's this one, there's oh yes, there's that one. There are just so many topics that we try and cover. Some of them are quite niche, and some of them will, be packed. We know that. But the range that we try to put into the programme is huge. And we do that because we know we've got such a vast and varied audience that we want to try and support. Having said that, please get in touch, anyone, if you've got some ideas about topics for future events. And Jane was talking a little bit about change and the fact that, things have changed over the years. And as an event, we are looking at how we can continue to evolve and develop. This year will be more or less the same as it has been in recent years, but we are looking at the future of the event and how we grow it, how we build it. And for that, we need the input of the audience, and we need the input of our brilliant speakers and our wonderful exhibitors to give us their thoughts and ideas, because we really do want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the SEND community, because that's the only way that the show will grow.
I think that's a great way to wrap it up. We've covered the history. We've covered what's happening this year. I've stopped asking what's going to be your favourite session, because people start asking me what's your favourite podcast episode you've recorded. And it's like there's 300 of them. Not a chance in hell. There are some which obviously stand out for me, but I could probably list 20 or 30 different favourites for different reasons.
Yeah.
Either they were the most fun, or it shocked me, or I learnt the most, or it really changed how. There are so many reasons it's really hard to choose your favourite. So I'm not asking anymore. I'll be kind.
Okay.
Oh, well, it's been great to have the chat, Dale. Thanks for facilitating this, and great to see you, Bev, as well.
I always enjoy these. I always enjoy having those things. It shows that you kind of you turn up. It's a whirlwind. You leave.
Yeah, and there's all these promises
And
of
I always
we're going to talk, we're going to meet, we're going to do this on site, but everyone is just so busy and so excited about being together again that you just never get the time for those in-depth conversations or to.
But you do get the time to make connections, Bev. You get the time to make connections. You get the time to share connecting pieces of information. You get the time to actually start to build what a supportive network looks like. For you as an individual attendee at the show. So I think you leave with that added value of knowing not only have you immersed yourself in the SEND community of practice, but you've also left with a whole string of connections that you can then reflect on and follow up at a later date, post-show.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
So we'll be putting links to find out more about the show, the seminars and all that in the show notes. And as always, you'll find the show notes wherever you listen to this episode or on the Sendcast website. If you haven't subscribed already, click on that subscribe button wherever you're listening. And don't forget to follow us on all the social medias, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky or TikTok. We're generally everywhere. And if you're struggling to show progress, if your assessment process is overcomplicated, takes too long, or you want to see what's available, have a look at the B-School website or come and find us at the Tes SEND Show and find out how we can help show progress for all pupils, from the most complex on the engagement model, looking at executive function, SEMH, all the different things we can help show progress. So have a look at the B-School website. You can book a meeting with me to take you through the software and how it can help you, or come along and find us at the show. But for now, thank you for listening. We'll be back again soon with another episode of the Sendcast, but it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.